All right, welcome back. It's still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa, and this time around we are discussing sports. Mercy, take it away.
Karim Benzema's hat-trick left Chelsea with a mountain to climb if they are to retain their Champions League crown as Real Madrid took a goal advantage in the quarter-final first leg. Now, France forward Benzema, who's been talked about, headed his first half crosses from the Vinicius Junior and Luka Modric to silence Stamford Bridge, while Kai Havertz's header pulled one back before halftime, but the goalkeeper Mandy's error gifted Benzema his third Chelsea and the second leg would actually start, on Tuesday, talking about April 2022 on the 12th. Now, joining us this morning is a sportscaster, Mozez Praiz. It's good to have you join us on the show this morning.
Messi, appreciate that.
All right, thank you so much. But let's look at some of the highlights for the Champions League. You have some of the highlights, apart from Chelsea losing out on that particular first leg. What do you really make of the Champions League so far?
The Champions League is the Champions League. It's a pinnacle of club football all across the world. And if for anything, look, it's been an interesting run out. Chelsea, the defending champion, may not be defending that title unless we see a miracle. But that's the beauty of football, You never give up until the referee decides it's the end of the game. Chelsea may be out of reckoning. It was a poor showing for them, where they lost back-to-back defeats both in the Premier League and the Champions League. I think that was just big defeats. And a big question mark now will be on the number one goalkeeper in the world, and I'm talking about Mendy. The truth was some of the goals he considered were very, very atrocious, schoolboy errors and the likes. And the fact that he's considered 7 goals in 2 games, back-to-back. Now everybody's going to be watching him and say, hey, dude, are we really sure this guy is the best goalkeeper at the end of the day? But Chelsea are in a bad rut, and I guess it has a lot to do with them losing their Russian sugar daddy. So are they going to pull themselves out of this one? It's all dependent on how far, the players desire this, because I just don't desire in them anymore.
All right, but let's also look at Villarreal surprising not just Bayern Munich, but the football world. It was actually a beautiful game to see, and the fact that they won because they played beautifully. But do you see them doing the unthinkable in Germany?
Yeah, I like the fact that you said it's the unthinkable. You can't even think of it. I trust the Bavarians to actually go back home. Don't be surprised if the scoreline ends 6-0 or 6-something or 5-something. The Allianz Arena is a fortress. And Villarreal, I think they did great. Look, take nothing away from them. I don't think they've actually gone past the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. So to be there and get that win over Bayern, it's a good one for them. Bayern can have those funny days, and I think that was just one of it. But I promise you the return leg is going to be most probably disastrous for Villarreal at the end of the day.
So away from Villarreal, we also look at City and Atletico Madrid. The fact that history has never been broken, but you could actually also see a team that comes to break all of that they have achieved over the years. Does this come to you as a surprise? And what are the other surprises that you probably would have seen in the Champions League?
There are no surprises currently, Messi. As things stand, I think Man City will more or less finish the job away to the Wanda Metropolitano. That's the stadium for Atletico Madrid. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's about time Diego Simeone takes a move, because the truth is he's probably the longest serving managers currently in that maybe in club football. I dare say he's the most expensive, well-paid manager in the world as regards club football. And he's really done a lot for this Atletico Madrid side. They've been knocked out from this particular stage a few times. Chelsea knocked them out in the quarterfinals last season en route to winning the title. So would it be consecutive defeats and being knocked out of the Champions League in the quarterfinals? It is Man City. The holy grail for them is the UEFA Champions League, even though they've got Liverpool breathing down their neck in the Premier League. And interestingly to see they're playing Liverpool back-to-back. Not just in the Premier League, but in the FA Cup semi-final first leg. So all to battle for in that. Man City has shown that for you to excel in anything, you've got to have depth in squad. That they have in droves. So I think that will push them through. So no surprises at all. And Liverpool with the win over Benfica, easy ride. You'll expect them to come back to Anfield and get the job sorted. So if you're asking me what my semi-final pairing is looking like, I'll tell you straight. Well, not pairing, but basically guys who are progressing to the semi-final: Liverpool, Man City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid.
But do you see Liverpool, clinging to it this time? I mean, it feels like after the experience with Benfica, it's been such an awesome time, and a lot of people are saying, hey, there's been several dominants for them there.
Liverpool have a shout in this. You can't take that away from them. I think they have a good chance of actually progressing, probably winning this or being in the final at least. But for Man, I think if anybody is going to win the title, Man City has a hand in this. Don't look away from Real Madrid. There's a reason why the UEFA Champions League is their baby. It's their competition. For you to win it 13 times, that is utterly ridiculous. So they just don't know where to put the stars anymore for them as regards the UEFA Champions League. So I think these are the teams that have a massive shout in this. These are the big boys, really, when it comes to the UEFA Champions League. So if any of these other contenders want to bamba, then they definitely have got to show that they can't shoot big boys. And I doubt if that will happen. Hence why I said to you, my semi-final progression: Liverpool, Man City, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid. This is when Man City has got to show up and nick this time. I don't know if that will happen, but they have a chance.
All right, so Mozez, Praiz, let's digress a bit back to Nigeria now. I know that we're talking about the UEFA Champions League, but let's come back, to the NFF. The fact that we failed to qualify, that's generated a lot of reaction. Some persons have not eaten for days. It's been a lot for several football fans, in Nigeria. But right now on the news this morning, dominating the pages is the fact that there's a lot of pressure for the president of the NFF, Amaju Pinnick, to resign shortly after, dissolving or sacking the technical team right there. Well, what are your thoughts, really?
Let's start off first with those people who have not eaten for. They need to give me that food. It's much needed in my home. Having stated that, and I think people have got to understand, our problem mostly is when we fail at something, we're looking for a solution almost immediately. And you don't look for how to fix it. My mentor taught me that when you fall, pick something up. Every time you fall, pick something up. So most times when we fall, you're looking for relief as opposed to learning from it. We haven't learned why we got to where we got to. We're looking for what is the solution so we won't get here again. No, you got to learn. How did you get there first? If you don't fix that, then we'll continue in a vicious cycle of looking for solutions for everything, but never learning how not to get to that point again. Sacking the technical crew was just a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. The rot has actually started with the NFF themselves, where the mentality is that once it is from abroad, it is better. Has got to change. That mentality pervades because you have refused to fix what is at home. So as such, it's only abroad that will fare you. I have said often, and I take nothing away from the guys who played. All right, they don't have any issues at the end of the day. But when you take somebody who does not understand what it's like to be under bad governance, when you take somebody who has not experienced NEPA, take somebody who has not been in traffic for hours for no reason, take somebody who has not gone into a pothole called a road, you understand? A death trap you call a road. All of those things that make us resilient and keep pushing, and we have that never say die spirit in us. A situation where we get into any circumstance and say, you know what, we die here, and that circumstance, we must always surpass it. Once you don't have that, then there's not really nothing you can ask from anybody else. Most of those players are players who were born abroad, never lived in Nigeria, never understood the Nigerian mentality. If you see Osimhen running like a madman, yeah, that's because the propensity to run after cars when he was selling pure water is still there in him. He understands what it means like to hustle. So what we had with the NFF, especially with the president who was junketing up and down, he became the scout of the Super Eagles. He's the one looking for players. Who does that? Leave that job to the coach. He's the one announcing whatever deals they sign. Leave that to the marketing team. So he was taking on unnecessary jobs. And at the end of the day, we ended up where we ended up. And again, those people are Nigerians. I'm not taking anything away from them. But I'm saying, if you don't have the bulk of the team. The reason why we succeeded and when Westhoff was in charge was because the bulk of the team came out of Nigeria, even though they were playing abroad. They came out of Nigeria. And he was looking through Nigeria. He was the reason Finidi George, as far as I'm concerned, was the only number, is the last player. And I'm saying this with all sense of humility. The last player to leave the Nigerian league and walk into an international club side. First team, Finidi George with Ajax. Since then, I mean, you just have people who just want to go abroad for any, it doesn't matter what the team is. So as long as you don't have that mentality, we will have that issue. Hence, the same thing we saw with Keshi. He did that with the local players. And we achieved what we did in 2013 with the AFCON. So our mentality has got to change that if it's from abroad, it is better. That has got to change. And we have to fix the team. It is the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, not the Nigeria Super Eagles Federation. You have to look after football in Nigeria. You are in charge of that. So calling for their sack, well, if they had like a whole term, I say, okay. But they're going to be out by September anyway. What he is gunning for is a third term. And that's where people should say, no, I'm sorry, man. You can't go for a third term. Because for all the monies you announced as regards marketing deals that came in, sponsorship deals, we didn't really see that being manifested in the football. We're not saying, well, we made this money and it's going into this. Yet, the last coach you fired, you owed him salary for 6-7 months. And yet, when you signed the deal, you're saying, we will not owe anybody. You owe almost all the technical crew. I promise you now, you watch out, some of these people who are still on board, that they just sacked, they're still owing them. That has got to change. If you don't fix the league, and I say that all the time, you can't build a house from the roof. If you don't fix the league, which is the crater, the very core of your football in any nation, then you will continue to have the problem you're having. So rather than us quickly looking for, how we can, fix, no. How did we get there? That's what we need to look at and deal with those issues. And again,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm going too far, but
no,
this
it's
is where I'm
fine.
running up.
Go ahead.
Our football is just typifying the nation itself. All right, the football is sick because the nation itself is sick. I've often said it. Somebody has cancer, and of course, he's got all sorts of symptoms: headache, he's got body pains, and you give him Panadol for his headache. You will not fix him. It's unless you can, if possible, put your hands into his body and yank the cancer out. Maybe that's when he'll be fine. That's when he'll be fine, because there's something bigger creating those smaller problems. Football is just a small problem of a bigger problem in the nation.
Well, it's actually, fantastic position that you put out there, because over time you see how the fans actually react. Some people would constantly say we have a team of players that are not very, good and all of that. Usually you see these boys doing very well in the different clubs where they play, but when it comes back home, there's a lot of issue. And some people would say it's the issue of, the coach not being very tactical, and that's why we had Gennett Rowe out of the, the picture entirely. But like I've mentioned, very great perspective that you put out there. But just as we coast this conversation down, very interesting yesterday is the issue of the Super Falcons, talking about Asisat Oshoala, who's been stripped of her, captaincy position. And that also is a surprise. I mean, following Asisat, she's also surprised by the action coming right here for her. So what are your thoughts? What's really going on?
To be honest, I'm being very careful about that situation because, again, at times, a whole lot of things happens in the media, even before it gets to the protagonists themselves. I've been nominated into a few committees, and nobody ever reached out to me and said, oh, we would like you to be in this community. Are you interested? I just found out I'm in a community. I'm like, what kind of nonsense is that? And I refuse to be part of that. So Asisat herself hasn't really, shown much. I don't know, she's been going through some very downtime at the moment. But if there's a reason why she's been stripped of the captaincy, we need to know why. I don't know why, because there has to be some major reason. Because so far, I think she's actually showed up with the team. If the teammates are not, gelling with her, we need to know why. We need to understand what the situation is as opposed to what is in the media.
But the NFF has actually not, put out a statement to counter the narrative that's actually on, and so it feels like that's exactly what it is.
No, if the NFF hasn't said anything, then that means that situation is not really true. You must hear the official situation from the NFF. You get that, and that's how it really should be. And the press release from the NFF's media hub must say, so assistant has been stripped of her captainship because of this. Now, all we are hearing is on different media. Once there's no official source, then you should take that with a pinch of salt. No matter how, take it with a pinch of salt.
All right. Thank you so much, Mozez Praiz, for being part of the show this morning. We do appreciate your time.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
Well, that's the size of the conversation for us on The Breakfast. We've been looking at the UEFA Champions League, a little bit of digression to the Nigerian scene right here, where we're talking about the NFF and the pressure for Amaju Pinnick and his entire team to get off the seat. And also Asisat Oshuola as well. Take that with a pinch of salt, because no official statement, right here as regards the captaincy.
Yeah, and one interesting thing I could take away from your conversation with Mozez is about, dealing with the situation head on. It's just as if he mentioned having cancer and you're just treating the symptoms when the root cause of the matter is lying deep. If you don't treat that, you'll just be hanging on the surface. So if we have to make our sports, development, our sports here in Nigeria better, we have to tackle the issues head on and not just look on the periphery. But that's the size of the show for today and indeed this week. Thank you so much, all of you who have sat back to watch from Monday to Friday. We return again on Monday, 7 a.m. My name is Justin Akadonye.
And I am Messi Popo. Do have a fantastic day.